It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
One just has to pick up a magazine or turn on a television to see that as women, we are bombarded daily with media images of physical perfection, setting up the most unrealistic of expectations as to how we should look. No wonder female body confidence is failing, while incidents of eating disorders are on the rise. What's most alarming is the way this affects young girls. A reduced sense of self-worth can create anxiety, stress, even depression, causing relationship issues while potentially impairing academic and job performance. In direct contrast, Confidence in Bloom is designed to reinforce the truth and reassure every woman who has ever felt inadequate, unworthy, or tossed aside because of how she looks, that no matter her age, shape, or background, you matter, you are enough now. I, Tina Spolatini, a woman of substance, insist women deserve to be happy, confident, successful, and totally in love with themselves in their own bodies, just the way they are. Through an ongoing series of intriguing conversations and with women from all walks of life who are all extraordinary in their own right, we will embark upon a journey of ultimate self-acceptance and empowerment. Together, we'll share stories, laugh, learn, maybe even shed a few tears when it becomes clear just how far many women have come to realize how wonderful life is when you stand in your own power, feeling fantastic in your own skin. Today, my guest is Donna Mintz. Donna is a certified integrative health coach and creator of Intermittent Fasting Unleashed. With over 20 years of experience as a personal chef, trainer, and functional nutrition expert, she's helped countless people achieve lasting weight loss and optimal health. Donna specializes in empowering individuals to break free from dieting, balance their blood sugar, and adopt sustainable habits that support a long, healthy life. Based in New York City, Donna is on a mission to help her clients take control of their health and redefine what it means to age well. Hi, Donna. How are you?
I'm awesome, Tina. How are you?
I'm great. So let's start with what are you celebrating today? We're like finishing the first month of the new year. What are you celebrating?
I'm celebrating, moving through the new year and there's a lot of chaos within within the new year. And I'm celebrating that I made it through without allowing the chaos to overtake me. That's kind of what I'm celebrating for myself. I when I work with clients, I talk about managing stress and moving through the holidays, and I practiced what I preached.
Good for you.
Awesome. It works.
Yeah. And then, like you said, there's a lot of chaos, and chaos not always being like a negative energy, right?
Not at all. No.
Right. But at the same time, I mean, in the United States, you guys got I don't know if you call it a new president. I don't know how you phrase it. I mean, he's new for the year, for this term, but he's been before. And yes. I mean, the world knows that, it could go one of two ways, right? He's got a reputation. Is he going to live up to that reputation? Is he going to come up with something new? Nobody knows what could happen. So I get the chaos, right? Holidays alone. I mean, I love Christmas. I love being with my family. I'm finding as I get older and my kids get older and our family grows, we spend less and less time together as a family, as in the whole family. And I realized this year, I probably realized it a few years ago, but this year I really noticed it's not the same as it used to be. And that kind of makes me sad. But at the same time, it's like, well, this is my time to shine and sort of build my own family traditions, right? Because I mean, I'm not a grandparent yet. And I hope not to be for a long time. But at the same time, like this is the time, right? Like this is a time for me to start embracing, you know, I can make my own traditions, right? So I get the chaos. I get all that. Yeah.
I live in New York City. I live right near Macy's, the largest department store in the world that has all, that does the parade. So around, I'm not exactly in the middle of the craziness, but I'm kind of off to the side. But as soon as I walk kind of like that way, I'm in the middle of it, and just the tourists and what's going on, and that's that is the kind of craziness and chaos that I didn't let affect me. I kind of sat in my space, and I centered myself, and I enjoyed it for the first time, which was so that is what I am celebrating.
I love that. I love the way you said that because that is what's his name? Eckhart Tolle. That's what the
Yes,
power of now is, right? It's
yes,
about whatever happened, a second ago happened. Whatever's going to happen, in 2 seconds is going to happen. But
right.
how about we just sit where we are, right
Mhm.
at this moment and take what's going on around us. I've caught myself doing that a few times in the last couple of years, and wow, I'm like, it's almost overwhelming how much joy that can bring you.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I
Yeah.
loved it. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah. And I had to, I don't know if you've ever read the book, but when he explains what the power of now really is, I had to read that part, 2 or 3 pages, like 3 or 4 times because I didn't understand it. And then I was like, wait a minute, this is not rocket science, right? It's about being like where you are right this second and acknowledging what is happening right this second, right?
Right,
Yeah. And
exactly.
I think we live in a society that really doesn't understand that. They're starting to. Everything is always I mean, you're in New York City. Like that's got to be probably one of the most bustling cities in the world.
I believe so.
Yeah. So I mean, there is no now, right? It's always where I'm going, where I've been, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
thinking about the past or looking to the future.
Right. And
Yeah,
yeah.
well, that's what we were. That's kind of how we were taught. What are you going to? I mean, it started with what are you going to be when you grow up,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like, let's look to that, and it kind of starts
Right.
there, and then it just kind of,
Oh my
and
gosh,
like,
that's a really good point, right?
yeah,
Like, what are you going to be when you grow up? And how about act your age, right? Tell me, how do I act my age when I've never been my age before? And what does that mean, right? Oh my gosh, that's such a good point. Well, we're not here to
yes,
talk about society. I want to talk about you, and I want to talk about, okay, let's talk about achieving lasting weight loss and optimal health without dieting. Now, diet culture to me is completely off the table. I have done enough diets in my world that's probably ruined my chances of losing weight naturally. Well, without like I don't want to say without losing weight because I think there's always a chance. But consciously, I have to make more an effort today because of all the dieting that I've done. Does that make sense?
yes.
Okay.
So yeah, we were brought up that the only way to lose weight is to cut calories. You have to be on a diet. You have to count calories. You have to count macros. You have to, stop eating this or just eat this. Like, I look at somebody said to me the other day, I'm going to go on the carnivore diet. And I'm like, well, I said to him, why? Oh, it was really good for my friend. Okay, but you're not your friend. And yes, diets work for the short time. They are a quick fix. They are not long term. Something like the carnivore diet, you cannot do long term. So we've been programmed to look for like the latest and greatest. What else is out there? What's the next thing? Oh, I'll try that. This works for my friend. And that's just diet mentality. Like it's really it's about a few things. It's about changing our mindset and understanding that that whole diet mentality, cutting calories slows your metabolism. So there was recent research done on the contestants of The Biggest Loser. Do you remember The Biggest Loser TV show?
Unfortunately, I do, yes.
Right. And I bought in. I wanted these people to succeed. I wanted them to be healthy. That was before I knew better. Not that I would change my mindset about, I do want them to succeed and be healthy. But what I mean is all they did was, they lost weight. 6 years later, when this study was done by Harvard, they had gained back a lot of it. Not all of it, but a lot of it. I think average weight gain was somewhere between 90 and 120 pounds. Keep in mind, some of these people lost like massive amounts of weight. So in the grand scheme of things, that could be like 25, 35% of what they lost. But that being said, they slowed their metabolism. And your metabolism, so when you cut calories, think of it this way. You go through life and you're eating, and your body is burning 3,000 calories. I'm picking a number out of the air. Everybody's body burns different number of calories. We are all different. That's one of the reasons why we shouldn't all be on the same diet. So anyway, we are burning 3,000 calories, and then we cut down to 1,200 because that seems to be the magic number. And what happens is your metabolism actually slows down to burn 1,200 calories. And we know this because remember the plateau? We've all done it. It's happened to all of us. The weight loss has stopped. That's because your metabolism slowed down to the number of calories you're eating. When we go back to eating normally, because that's what we do, diets end, we're eating more than our metabolism at that point needs, because unfortunately, as fast as it goes down, it doesn't go up that fast. It could be years. So this research that was done by Harvard was done 6 years after the show, and their metabolisms were still slow by 29% than before they started. So that's what happens, and we've been doing this forever because that's what they told us to do, because unfortunately they don't know how to lose weight. So what I do is I take the equation of calories out. I don't count anything. The only thing I count is the number of hours I fast. I teach people to do intermittent fasting. And once they go through my program, I have people who feel they need to lose about 100 pounds, maybe a little more. And we take diet mentality out of the equation. It's not a quick fix. This is forever. This is something you can do forever. Personally, I've been doing intermittent fasting for 3 years, and I just turned 60 years old, and I am healthier than I was in my 30s and my 40s. And after my program, when they stick with it and they don't treat it as a diet, but treat it as a lifestyle, they're consistently losing 1 pound a week.
Wow. And then once they reach like what their body wants to be at, right? Does it stop, or do they continue to losing?
That's the key. Where their bodies are comfortable. So they've created this new lifestyle that they're just going to keep doing. And for me and for others, my body just kind of stopped. It was comfortable at the weight that I'm at. And I just continue and I eat. People are shocked at the amount of food I eat.
So
Like,
that is my next question. Yeah, so when
my
you're eating,
girlfriends are like, I cannot believe you eat the way you eat.
so okay,
Yes.
so it's not necessarily, well, it's partly what you're eating, but am I right when I say the intermittent fasting is when you're eating? So if you're eating like, okay, so I follow Ayurveda, and our digestive
Okay.
system, according to Ayurveda, our digestive system starts to slow down after 1 o'clock p.m. so that your body can get into the the nighttime slowdown. So
Okay.
between 6 a.m. and 1 a.m., well, I think it's between 10 and 2 actually, that our digestive system is at the highest, like 10 a.m., 2 p.m., so lunchtime, right? So that's when it starts to burn the most. That's why we should be eating our biggest meal before lunchtime. This is how I understand it. Now, with intermittent fasting, so I was doing intermittent fasting. I think I've been doing it for 2 or 3 years now. And so I was eating like my biggest meal at 10:30, and then a smaller meal at 5, between 5 and 6, right? I did lose weight, right? But I didn't snack in between. And I think like normal intermittent fasting is sort of, you can eat between those hours, right? So it would be, for me at that time, was 10:30 a.m. and 5. Is that right? Yeah. And
Yeah.
then, so
Oh,
do you tell your clients to eat whatever they want, or do you provide a plan that sort of increases their energy? And like nutrition obviously is super important, more over everything, right? I mean, it's about what you're eating, but I mean, you need to leave room for the good stuff too, right? Like the ice cream and the chocolate and the, right? Like I do you include that in a plan, or is that something that's sort of additional?
so I always say I refuse to live in a world where I can't eat a burger, a fries, and an espresso martini every once in a while. Like, that's my go-to. I'm not a huge sweets fan, but I live near a bakery that makes the absolute best carrot cake. And I have it once in a while. But there's a couple of things that I want to unpack with what you said. So the first thing is, we need to understand how we gain fat. And we gain fat because of sugar, because of insulin is our fat storage hormone. When we eat sugar, as in processed foods always have added sugars, but also cakes, cookies, pizza, pasta, that's also a sugar. And also, I consider sugar to be like smoothies and juices because they really have the fiber broken down. Yes, the fiber's still, but it's still broken down. Your body doesn't need to digest it. And another thing where smoothies are concerned, where we always seem to put so much more stuff in a smoothie than we would put on the plate to eat if we weren't pureeing it
Well,
or
isn't it
blending
true
it.
that like in order to make 1 glass of orange juice, you need to have 5 or 6 oranges? Like that,
It's something like that.
that's the sugar, like that's where the sugar is coming from, right? Because you're
Right.
not eating just one orange, you're now drinking 5,
You've removed the fiber.
and you've removed the fiber. So
Right.
the fiber, so when you make a smoothie, it takes the fiber out of the fruit.
It does not take it out, but it breaks it down. And when it's broken down, we could put more stuff in it. So if a lot of people are like, well, I'm doing an apple and a chunk of pineapple and all this kale and I'm like, would you sit and eat that in a bowl? They're like, no, that's a lot of stuff. Then why would you drink it? Like, your body is is not
Oh,
processing it. That's
right,
what I'm saying. Like, eat the stuff. You
right.
wouldn't eat that. And also, when we're blending and pureeing fruit, we're always putting more than we would eat in it. And fruit has fructose in it, and that's a whole story for another time.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, we gain weight because of insulin. When we eat these sugars, they hit our bloodstream very quickly. Our pancreas needs to do something with the sugar, which is now referred to as glucose. It's glucose in the body. It stores it in 3 places. The first place is your muscle, the second place is your liver, and the third place is fat. So if we're intermittent fasting and you just keep refilling your fat storage by eating pizza and pasta and drinking smoothies, you are not going to reap the benefits of intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting, when you are not feeding your body energy, which is carbohydrates and sugar, that's energy. I'm using carbohydrates and sugar. When we are not using it, we're storing it as fat.
Okay.
Does that make
So
sense?
it does make sense.
I misspoke. When we're not giving it to our body, we have to find that energy somewhere. It gets pulled from your muscles, then your liver, and then your fat. And that's where we lose fat. So if we're eating anything and we give ourselves free reign, we're refilling those fat storages with sugar. That's what I meant to say.
Okay. So okay, I get that a little bit more clear. Now, if I'm not eating, okay, so I eat everything, right? I love pasta. I've said it to myself so many times, maybe we need to give up pasta, but I cannot give it up, right? I only eat it once or twice a week now, which, is probably still a lot, but I love it and I'm not going to give it up anymore. I think I won't give up anything, right? But what I'm noticing is I'm starting to be a lot more decisive on what I'm eating, right? If I walk into a restaurant and I sit down and I look at the menu and there's nothing there that I really am loving, I don't want to eat, right? Like I need to love what I'm going to put in my mouth now. And I know I call it an old age thing, right? Because I was never like that, right? When I was in my 20s or my 30s, even my 40s, I would look at the menu. I don't really feel like anything on here, but I'll have this anyway, right? And so is it true then that that's, I think, intuitive eating. That's listening to your body, right? Because your body will tell you, you want chicken or you want a salad or you want something hot, right? I want something that I can eat with a fork and not like a sandwich, right? That you just know that, right? But when it comes to eating like a smoothie, I would never drink. I rarely drink smoothies because I want to eat. I like the concept of chewing, right? I don't drink my calories. Yeah. Now, I want to go back to the sugar thing and choosing what you're eating.
Okay.
Now, clearly, there's a lot of overweight people in the world, right? I don't even need to tell you that because we all just have to look out the window and see it. Is that like a meaning that we're all eating too much sugar for real?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Because everybody's different. It could be a genetic thing. There could be a health issue. So I don't want to generalize that statement. But for the most part, if there's no health issue involved, probably.
So where are we getting all this sugar from? Like, I know, like,
everything.
Like, even like when you go to a restaurant and you order like a hamburger.
Oh my God. So I have a background as a personal chef. I went to culinary school. And what happens in a restaurant, like there's no nutrition 101 in a restaurant, in restaurant school, excuse me, there's no teach us nutrition. They don't teach us portion sizes or what's a healthy portion size. Restaurants don't care about you. They don't care about your health or they care about getting percent of stomach. And the way they get that percent of your stomach is by delivering the perfect amounts of sugar, fat, and salt. Every single restaurant. I don't care how healthy the restaurant says they are, you're still, that's what restaurant chefs do. Because what happens is there's an experience. When you walk in the door of a restaurant, it has an atmosphere, it's got a vibe to it. And then you sit down and they're literally delivering you sugar on salt on fat. And especially fast food restaurants. Fast food and like the Fridays and the Chili's and the, those sit down type of restaurants, they know exactly how to spark your dopamine receptors. If you read an ingredient list of a processed food, most of things are going to be in there are going to be sugar, but there's going to be maybe like 10 different sugars because they're in descending order ingredient lists. And if they put one sugar on it, it'll probably be one of the first ingredients, and you wouldn't eat it. You'd be like, oh, this has too much sugar. So they break it up into honey and maple syrup and brown rice sugar and then all the things that sound healthy, organic, whatever sugar. Like there could be 5, 6, 7 different sugars, and half the time you're not going to know what they are because they're under these like obscure names. When I'm working with clients and we start talking about this topic, I have a list of 50 different sugars. They're like, wait, what? Then the other problem with packaged food is the serving sizes and all the grams. That can be legally in the United States by the FDA. I have this quote from the FDA website. They're legally allowed to be up to 19% wrong. So our calories, the amount of fat, the amount of carbohydrates, the total sugars, those don't need to be really what's in a product. So if you're eating a lot of processed foods, then you are eating a lot of sugar.
Wow. So, I mean, we all know processed foods is not good for us. We know that, right? We've known that for years, right?
But they're easy and we like them.
Right. And clearly that's why we like them, right? Because they make them taste so good. And like you said, like it's all about the, the environment. It's all about the experience and the whole bit. 19% is a big number. Right? Like if I'm looking at an ingredients list and yes, I can see what's in there, but if 19% of what I'm seeing is not there or it's fabricated, right? Like they can make it look better than it actually is. That's a high number. Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I have so many questions for you. And
wait, I do want to say one more thing before you ask questions. Okay. I'll be happy to answer them all. But I also want you to keep in mind, in the States, we don't know what a gram looks like.
Right.
So when you say there's 23 grams of sugar in something, we have no idea what that means.
Well, I know a secret to that. You divide it by 4, and that tells you how many teaspoons.
Okay. Thank you.
I learned that years ago. My mom read it in some book, and so if you divide that number by 4, that tells you how many teaspoons. And I'll tell you, that has made a huge difference in my world, right? Ever since she told me, and I was young. I was young. I was married, but I was like in my late 20s, early 30s. And I used to think, holy man. So a little yogurt, right? It has 6 teaspoons of sugar, just in a little mini yogurt, which is like less than 3 ounces. And I thought, that's ridiculous, right? Like absolutely ridiculous. We are eating this stuff like it's nothing.
And that's where the sugar is.
Yeah. And that's where we're making our biggest mistake. Now, this isn't news to me. It's not news to me. We've all been hearing, cut the sugar. And I think Oprah came out with a thing, maybe 20 years ago now, about the white foods, like the white flour, the sugar. I can't remember what the other white thing is. There was 3 of them. Do you remember? I know it's flour, sugar, something else. Anyway, anything white we should be avoiding, right? Because of this, right?
Potatoes?
It's crazy. Potatoes? So, and now,
I
so
don't
with
know.
Ayurveda, potatoes are not, because they are from the ground, not everybody can like digest them the same. But that doesn't mean that we should be avoiding them, right? Like they are good for some people, right? You know, like, and I think this is where it comes down to, you know, we generalize, right? Like we generalize, you know, like you said, because it worked for, you know, his friend, this man wanted to do the carnivore diet. We are all different. Some bodies cannot handle that kind of meat, right? Some bodies need to have more vegetables, right? And so really that makes the diet world a lot more complicated, because every single body on this earth is different, right? You, like, it's like going drinking. You can have maybe 3 espresso martinis and not feel a thing. I have one and I'm looped, right? Or vice versa. Like that's how, you know, our bodies are different. Now, I want to get back to these questions I have about sugar.
Yes,
The
please.
first thing, where do we start to cut back on the sugar? I know processed foods is probably your number one answer, but is that a reality for most people?
It depends. It depends what your lifestyle is. So I kind of feel like there's going to become a point when you realize, not you, but everybody realizes that if they want a different outcome, they need to change. They need to do something different. And that is huge for people. It's what is it? The definition of what is it? Keep doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah, if you want, the definition of crazy is doing the same thing over and over again and hoping to get different results.
Expecting a new outcome.
Yeah.
Right. So we kind of have to get to a point where we have to decide: is processed food worth? Is it getting in the way of my health, of my weight loss? People who eat a lot of processed foods are really affecting their whole body, their heart health, their brain health. It's not just weight. Everything on the end of your fork has an outcome. You have to then decide what that outcome is going to be. So, is it realistic for everybody? I don't know. They have to decide that.
That makes total sense, because I mean, it's common knowledge now that processed foods is not good for us, for anybody. So at the end of the day, whatever you're putting into your mouth, doesn't matter what it is, it's your decision.
It is.
Right? Yeah.
I'm going to tell a real quick story. When I was a chef, I don't cook for other people anymore. I had private clients. I didn't work in a restaurant. So when I was a chef, I got a call from a large company. I have an NDA. I can't talk about it, but or mention who it is. And they wanted me to create healthy snacks. And I did. I created like 7 or 8 healthy snacks. I go into the room, I start giving them, they love it, everything's great. And they asked, in the contract, I had to give them my recipes, and I did. And they called me back, they asked me questions, and they were like, well, we're going to do it this way. And they just added sugar to everything.
Oh my gosh.
They just added sugar to everything. And I was just like, I developed the recipes. They could do whatever they wanted. The recipes were for them. But I do know that 3 or 4 of the things that I created came out full of sugar.
So delete the whole healthy process. Exactly. Right?
Exactly. Wow. But healthy at this point is marketing.
Right.
You have to, we all have to decide what is healthy to me. What does healthy mean?
So tell me, what does healthy mean?
What does it mean to you? to me, it's going to be very different. And I have certification in functional nutrition and as a chef and as a personal trainer and integrative health coach, and I've been on a wellness journey for like 20 years. So my definition of health is going to be, or healthy, or eating healthy is going to be very different than somebody who's just starting on a journey and really doesn't know where to start. So it's kind of like, what are you going to choose to be your definition of healthy and build on that?
Right. Because you cannot make a change 100% or 360 degrees overnight. Your body will give up. So you have to go like, maybe 5 or 10%, not even, like maybe 2 to 3% each. Yeah.
One little change. If it is, I don't drink water. I don't drink enough water. Okay. Drink one more glass of water than you normally would. I barely walk. Get a pedometer. I get an average. I was just telling somebody this morning. Get an average of 7 days for a pedometer and add 1,000 steps to it. It's like little baby steps. Choose one small thing, because then that thousand extra steps is going to be really easy one day in 3 weeks a month. And then you're going to up it another 1,000 steps. That extra glass of water. So you're now drinking 4 glasses of water, and that's gotten, that's easy. I'm going to add another glass of water. It snowballs. Healthy habits snowball. One small, minor something that you can fit into your life without throwing everything into chaos and without affecting and it can't have too much thought. If I have to think about, oh my God, I have to get my sneakers and I have to do this and I have to do that. No, you have to be that person who wants to. I'm actually just reading the book Atomic Habits. And it was like such a light bulb. Like, what kind of person do you want to be? A person who walks? A walker? If you want to be a person who is a walker, you gotta set yourself up for success. You have to have your sneakers out.
Is it in Atomic Habits? He says to put your sneakers by the door. Is that the book?
It's like that. Yeah, like things like that. Like, set yourself up for success. If you want to eat healthier, then put a bowl of raw veggies when you open the refrigerator right in your line of sight, because that's the first thing you're going to see. So grab whatever. I love the baby peppers, colorful peppers. I have a bag of that in my refrigerator, and I'm like, I boredom eating, and I'm just like munching on a pepper. It's better than anything else.
It's so true. And I remember,
set yourself up for success.
Yeah, I remember when my kids were little, and I was intentional with teaching them not to go for the junk food, during the day. And so every morning after I would get them up, I would cut fruit and vegetables for the day. And that was, if we had snacks, that's what we were eating. Right. And I had twins. And so I found it super easy. Then when I had my third one, well, let me tell you, my whole world was rocked, right? I was like, I don't have time for this, right? And then I noticed that our habits completely changed because I wasn't intentional, right? And I think it has to be easy, like you said. You have to be able to do it right at the moment, right? But at the same time, you have to not be able to have to think about it, right? Like, you think about it, but you don't think about it at the moment, right? So if you're prepared, like I was when the kids were, when I had just the twins, it was easy because, okay, you want a snack here's a carrot, here's a, piece of celery, but if you're not intentional and don't prepare yourself, then at the moment you're like, oh, here's a granola bar, right? Because that's where we go, right? Oh my gosh, I have so many questions that, we're going to have to maybe set up the second call because, okay.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So, okay. So we're aiming to get rid of the sugar first, right? That's kind of, I think once we get the sugar out of our systems, then our bodies are going to be a little bit more louder in telling us what it wants. What would be the next step? Is it going to be maybe like planning the times of your food or what you're eating? Like tell me what works better.
So here's the thing. Yes, one of the tools I use is intermittent fasting. And it's awesome. I have a lot of clients that have had a lot of success. I told you 1 pound a week. They're doing great. These are healthy people who can do this. But then there are other people that we need to work on lifestyle. So I don't want to just talk on intermittent fasting. Yes, intermittent fasting is a tool and it's awesome and I highly recommend it. But there are other facets of just being healthy. And the next thing you need to realize is what goes on your fork has an outcome. So food in its most whole form and really nourishing your body. The next thing I would look at is protein. I'd have protein at every meal and fat, healthy fat, just really healthy fats. So all these things. So you start with, what goes on the end of your fork, which we just spoke of, and then look at what else. Protein in every meal, and then healthy fats from nuts and seeds and avocado. That's where I go. That's kind of how I roll things into each other.
Okay. So, we get rid of the sugar.
Yeah.
We are looking at what we are putting into our mouths, and we're going for wholesome foods. Whole foods meaning like clean food.
Real
Nothing
food.
Processed. Right?
In its whole form. I mean, what we were talking about before, an orange instead of orange juice. The broccoli, the kale that you were going to put in the blender, eat the kale.
Right. So we're avoiding smoothies. Okay. We're avoiding breaking down the fibers of the food. We're eating it the way it comes out of the earth. Okay. I get that. That's
right. Exactly.
Right. So that I can see that. Now tell me, what is the real difference between organic and non-organic? Because I'm having a hard time believing organic is really what they say it is.
Okay. Couple of things with that. We spray our foods. We spray our foods with toxins and chemicals for a number of reasons. Mainly for bugs, so that there is a healthy crop. These toxins can be absorbed into the fruit or the vegetable or on the leaf. As in spinach. Spinach is one of the most sprayed crops in the United States. So what happens is when we eat these sprayed foods, we ingest chemicals. We ingest this spray. Even if we wash it off, it may go into the fruit or the vegetable itself. So we are eating that. On the other side, organic is not sprayed with chemicals. They're sprayed with, or sometimes they're not even sprayed at all, but it's much more a natural something. But that being said, there is really nothing it's not physically possible for a crop to be 100% organic because the farm 10 miles away could be spraying and the wind is bringing it into my organic farm. And now I'm not spraying it. What's that?
And the dirt as well, right? The way when they're mixing all the dirt up. Yeah.
The water. Yeah. I mean, there is, unless it's in I guess I don't even know if even a greenhouse, where are they getting the water from for a greenhouse? It's not from the greenhouse. I mean, is the rain coming down from the sky actually that clean? That non-toxic? Like you hear yes, you hear no. So I think you just have to really make a conscious decision on if it's worth it. So the EWG, the Environmental Working Group, it's ewg.org, has actually, I think I have it up here. It's a clean 15, a dirty dozen and a clean 15. So the
Oh, yeah,
dirty
I've heard about
dozen,
that.
the dirty dozen is this for, oh, this is old. This is from 2022. Not, and it changes every year. So the dirty dozen is really what they have found are the most sprayed fruits and vegetables in the United States. They buy produce and they clean it like you and I would. They rinse it, they do whatever they feel. Some people use those sprays. I don't know if they use the sprays, but they do what we would do in order to process the food in like a regular kitchen. And then they test it. And every year they come out with this dirty dozen. And these are the foods that they feel should be bought organic. Then there's the clean 15. And these are the foods that they have done this process with that they have found do not absorb the toxins. And they're usually, not always, but usually fruits and vegetables that have a peel on them that we would peel. Like a lemon. A lemon is okay to buy if you're peeling it. But if you're going to use the zest on the outside of it, you should buy organic.
Okay. Well, that's really good to know. That is good to know.
Yes.
Okay. So we have now broken down. We're getting rid of sugar. We're eating whole foods. We are choosing organic and or non-organic, right? We're choosing both. What would be the next step in like creating a healthy lifestyle as far as food? And like, I don't really want to aim at the losing weight. I think because I believe that if we just follow a healthy lifestyle, we will lose weight, right? Like if we can connect the mind, the body, and the soul, and living happy and healthy, the weight will it will just automatically release. So how are you doing that with your clients?
Well, we're talking about managing stress. We're talking about movement. We're talking about getting we were just talking about the spraying the chemicals, just getting the endocrine disruptors out of our lives and the obesogens. We have these chemicals in our world that disrupt our endocrine system. Our endocrine system is what is our hormonal system. That is the estrogens, the testosterones, the insulins, the cortisol. Like these are when we hear these words, we don't really understand what they are, but these are hormones. So when you disrupt that system in some way with these toxins, these chemicals in your environment, they disrupt your body, the functioning of your body. So where to find them, how to get rid of them. I always talk about like dry brushing and foam rolling just to open up these pathways. Lymphatic drainage is really important. Managing stress is huge for a healthy lifestyle, but for weight loss as well. So there's a lot of different things. I absolutely think people should be moving. We need to do it all. But here's the thing, like we're talking, you're kind of, you just made a list of all the things. Don't do all the things. Don't do all the things.
At least not today, right? Like do them, add them one at a time.
Pick one thing. Do you find that maybe you don't want to address your food today? Maybe you want to look at you need to go buy shampoo. You're almost out of shampoo. Maybe you want to learn a little bit about the toxins in shampoo and start looking at cleaner shampoos. And then when you need moisturizer, maybe start looking for moisturizer. Like that's one little thing. And I would never tell anybody, get rid of everything. It's all toxic. It's such a waste of money. But I want,
and it's not like you're going to have more regret, and then that brings on the stress and all that stuff. Yeah, I have to agree with you there. Yeah.
So I use an app called Clearya, Clearya. And Clearya is an app on my phone that I could go into a store and I could look at the ingredient list, and it breaks it down for me. And it tells me which ingredients are banned in other countries. The United States, we're horrible. We
my goodness.
Everything.
Well, and I mean, I'm not going to like agree with what you just said, but I know that in Canada, like I'm in Canada, so our government restrictions or regulations is so much stricter than yours. Like we bring in stuff from, like we sell a lot of the products that are made in the US, and a lot of it has, especially like with, direct marketing sales, like they have to go through this huge process, and half the time, half their products don't work. Right. And so I feel like the States is a lot more lenient, right, with what they're putting into their bodies. And that's a little bit scary. That's like, actually, no, that's a lot scary, right? Because what are they telling us? Like the government is telling you that it's okay. You don't matter. Right.
Well, yeah, but people don't realize that
no, they
that
don't.
There's no regulation.
Yeah.
And so I actually, full disclosure, created a skincare company for just this reason. And I cannot sell in Canada because, or in you follow UK laws with this, and I can't get the documentation that is necessary. Now, my ingredients are completely clean. You would recognize everything as food in my products. The thing is, I can't get the documentation because we don't need it here, so my suppliers don't have it. So they're trying to change that a bit, but the bottom line is that companies can say whatever they want on skincare and shampoo and conditioner, supplements, the same thing.
Wow. That's really, that gets really sad that our world has come to this. It really is. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like we trust in the wrong people, right? We are trusting that, these big companies are looking out for our best interest. And it's really come obvious to me that we are being blindsided, right? Or we have been, I don't know, brainwashed to believe this, or I don't know, but it just, I love talking with women like you that are into the more natural, more holistic way of living. I mean, it's not garbage, right? It's not, I mean, obviously what you're telling me about drinking the water and, really deciding on what I'm putting into my body. Now, if I'm looking out for myself, why wouldn't I listen to you? Why would I trust that the whatever's in that box is going to be good for me, right? And so I'm loving this conversation because I know it can go in so many different directions. As a kid, anybody who ate organic food or, really looked after their body and soul, we called them hippies. I don't know where that word comes from, right? I don't know where it comes from. I don't know why that is the case, but more and more I'm hearing and I'm learning that we all need to be like that. Right? We don't all have to be wearing the big baggy clothes and, and saying like these, I don't know what to even call them that, they used to say, right? But at the same time, it's like I can look after myself and my family in a holistic way without, I don't know, living that reputation of a hippie. I don't know really how to explain that. Right. But I'm finding more and more people like you, like you're spreading your word, and I love that. I love that you're out there protecting us and teaching us how to be better. Right? I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's what this is about. You are teaching me and your clients how to be a better version of ourselves. Right? And I love that.
Yeah, so an aside, and there is a huge reason I do what I do. I watched my father, who was a construction worker his whole life, big, strong dude, hung sheetrock, that kind of guy, smoked Lucky Strikes, and he had his cigarettes, and I
Yeah.
just thought, my dad's the coolest dude. He could water ski around the lake with a cigarette, and he never got it wet. And I just, and he was a steak eater, and he didn't take care of himself. And I just watched this strong man disintegrate before my eyes in the last few years of his life. And the last month he was in the hospital, and he died. He suffered terribly. And there are things that we can do now that we don't have to suffer. We can take proactive steps for ourselves, and we should all want to take proactive steps. And I know I went a little dark there, and I apologize.
No, it's good, because that's why you're doing what you're doing, is to avoid that, right? Yeah.
I don't ever want anybody to suffer the way I saw my father suffer.
Oh, I love that even more. Like, it just makes it so heartfelt. Yeah, you're right. And the thing is, that's not to say we won't suffer, because we don't know what tomorrow will bring. But if we can avoid that kind of suffering, because that kind of suffering is not just on him. He's not the only one who suffered there, right? You had to watch him. Your mom had to watch him. If you have, like, his family, his loved ones had to watch him. And I know what you mean. You see this big, strapping, awesome man who's always got the energy and the love in him. And now he's dwindling and so poorly, living his last days on earth, so unhappy and uncomfortable. Yeah, I get it. That's my aim, is to avoid that. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I don't know how I'm going to suffer tomorrow. But if I can avoid that kind of suffering, because I've seen it in the past, I'm on it. I'm on that page. Yeah.
But also, the healthier we are today, even if something catastrophic does happen to us, we have a healthier foundation of which to heal.
Yeah, that is so true.
I'm not saying we're not going to suffer horribly. Like, I eat broccoli and you won't suffer horribly. Like, but create that lifestyle for yourself and have a strong foundation for the future, so that.
Right. Yeah. And the thing is, when you're able to teach yourself the tools that you have and that you're offering to your clients, when something comes up that will bring on suffering, you will have the ability to create a tool to get through it, if not kill it, right? Yeah.
Something to fall back on.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I am loving this, Donna. I'm just loving this. I wish we could talk for another 3 or 4 hours, right? I'm a talker, and I love to ask questions. Yeah, we could. We will book another time for, probably later in the year, because I think.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I think this lifestyle change, everybody needs to at least know about it, and I'm sure that everybody can agree. At least I'd like to believe that every listener can agree that the smallest lifestyle change will improve my life, right? It has to. Yes, absolutely. Right. Is there anything that, I know we didn't talk about a lot of things, but is there anything that you want the listeners to know today that they can maybe put towards a new lifestyle change?
Pick one small thing. We've spoken about a lot. One small, is it water? Is it a little bit more movement? Is it getting off the TV, getting off the couch when you're watching TV when a commercial changes? We all have the remote control in our hand. Instead of changing the channel, maybe grab a set of weights. They could be 2-pound weights, and just do something. Maybe work on building a little muscle. All these things snowball. Little things, figure out one small change for yourself and do it. Have the mindset that I am going to be the type of person that drinks water. I am going to be the type of person that is going to lift a weight. I am going to be the type of person who reads an ingredient label and makes a conscious decision if this is something I want to put in my body. One small little change.
I love this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This has been an
Thank
incredible
you.
conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Confidence in Bloom is a celebration of self-love, a confirmation that even though you may not look like a screen star or a supermodel, they don't even look like that. You are an amazing, desirable, brilliant, gorgeous, talented woman. We offer unconditional love to our partners, our children, our extended family, even our pets. It's high time we got out of our own way and learned to unconditionally love ourselves. In Full Bloom Styling and Coaching offers an online program combined with one-on-one coaching in confidence building, personal branding, and creating your signature fashion look. Chic definitely does come in every shape. So if you want something to believe in, start with yourself. If you'd like to be a guest here on Confidence in Bloom, contact me through Instagram at infobloomstyling, by email tina@infobloomstyling.com, or through the Divas That Care website.